was trying to get somebody's attention. Nobody was responding. So I said, okay, I know what I need to do. I need to contact Bert Fields, Tom Cruise's lawyer. That was the name of my daddy when he was my daddy. My mother's married Fields, and Bert Fields, that was his name. And it's not the same guy. Maybe it's a different daddy's a different persona of daddy's. He certainly acted like daddy in a lot of ways. It really could have been, but it wasn't daddy. It was a different persona, at least. And I knew that they were different. But I figured, okay, they just want me to contact Bert. Okay. And so I contacted Bert Fields and told him I was coming to LA and to meet me I was coming in on a Greyhound and I was going to arrive at this time at the Hollywood station, and please have someone meet me at the bus. Okay. And, so we can get this party started. Right. And yeah, that was the winner. Contacting Bert Fields. Okay. I went, I halfway expected no one was going to, I really didn't think anyone was going to show up for me. I was just winging it. I was just trying anything, throwing the spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick. I had no idea how serious, how much of a response I would get by contacting Bert Fields, his attorney. So the Greyhound pulls into the station. I get out. I don't think there's anyone there, And I mentioned to Bert Fields that I would be, I'll be, if no one meets me, that I'll be quite happy to show up at his green gate. He had moved to the new house, the new mansion, I should say, and it had a green gate. And the other one was a white gate. Okay. And so I wanted him to know, I know what his gate looks like. I've been there. I haven't rang the doorbell, but I know where he lives now. And that got Bert Fields' attention. And I got off the bus and, of course, nobody's there right immediately. And I just walk out and I heard, Claire, I look at this guy by a car. And I'm like, yes, how did you know my name? And he's like, and he shows a picture of me. A picture of me at Tom Cruise's gate, going, looking in the camera really close. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know you had a picture of me like that. I was really embarrassed. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman had a whirlwind romance, being two very successful and well-known stars in Hollywood. Every step of their relationship was public information. And I'm sure they don't like that, right? But I just wish my life was somewhat public information. Just give a little of that publicity to me. Just share it with me, and then all the pressure won't be on you. All these people who are famous who I made famous, I produced Tom. I co-wrote all the films that have made him worldwide famous, the mega movie star he is, like the biggest movie star of all time, right? It was my work, my blood, sweat, and tears, my work, my talent, and everything. And I even recommended that he use his middle name Cruise, because I just didn't think he'd get that famous with the last name of Mopauthor. But, his other cousin proved that wrong. I know he's not the movie star Tom is, but he has a cousin with the last name Mopauthor who is an actor, I believe. I'm going to look him up in a minute, but let's read this article. I'm just a little frustrated that everybody who's so famous because of me and others, I'm not claiming, sole credit here. And it was my money too. It takes a lot of money to make somebody famous like Tom is. It's my money, that we use to make, it takes a lot of money to make a Beyonce, to make a Madonna, all of these people, Michael Jackson. A lot of money went into making them the stars they were. And it's like, I'm sitting here like nobody knows who I am. And it's just so frustrating, to see that all the money goes to everybody except me. And I'm the owner of this money. And I okayed that money being spent on producing them. and making them the mega stars they are and were. And yes, I did. But I did that thinking that one day I would be, participating in life with all of these people I created the careers for, and I'd have a career too. I mean, I just assumed, I didn't know I was being used to plan my money because everybody thought I would no longer be alive. The CIA used me to distribute all my money because they wanted me dead. They thought I would not survive all their torture and all their abuse. That's what they thought. When Tom jumped the couch on Oprah, that's when I could finally remember him. But when he and Nicole got their divorce in 2001, I was living in Glendale, California, and I had no memory of Tom at all. And there was a time when I was at a grocery store, or it was a local grocery store, not Whole Foods. I used to go to Whole Foods a lot, but I'd go to the regular grocery store, because it was cheaper, and some things, you don't need to go to Whole Foods for. And it was out in the parking lot that I was approached by two kids, a boy and a girl. And apparently they were Bella and Connor. And at the time, I didn't recognize them. I just thought they were a couple kids, and they were talking to me and I was talking back, and their father was in the store, and there was some minder nearby, a woman that was looking after them. I guess in Scientology they have little minders, and they were talking, and oh yeah, my father, my father is Tom Cruise. And I'm like, oh, really? Oh, so you're Bella. I was like, oh, yeah, I see. I recognize you now. Really? Is that right? And they're like, yeah, he wants to meet you. And we want you to meet him. And I'm like, okay, sure. And like, finally, there's this guy that walks out of the supermarket, and he's this big, tall guy. I think he had glasses. And, okay, I won't get ahead of myself. He was a big, tall guy with glasses, and he was really cute and everything. But I'm like, this is not Tom Cruise. Sorry. And they're like, yes, it is. It is Tom. And this woman, you told her your father is Tom Cruise, and she was really upset. And they're like, oh, and she's like, you get in the car. Blah, blah, blah. And then she was really upset. And I'm like, and he's like, and the guy said, oh, so were they bothering you? I'm like, no, they just told me that you were Tom Cruise, but clearly you're not Tom Cruise. And and he was really nice. He didn't say very much to me. I explained to him that they wanted me to meet their dad, Tom Cruise, but obviously he's not Tom Cruise. The CIA doesn't want to be held accountable. It doesn't want to be exposed it doesn't want the masses to know what they've been doing since the 60s, protecting my father, protecting me, not protecting me. I've been abused and tortured. It was protecting my father, who was a criminal, who was a serial killer, the Zodiac killer. Okay. Protecting my ex-boyfriend, who married me on paper, David Wayne Craig, who killed my brand new husband, Ron Goldman, and then secretly married me himself in, August after, I think it was early August of 1994. And, kept it a secret from me. They gave me memory drugs so I wouldn't remember anything. Of course, now I remember, but I can still remember. Okay. It took me decades, but I can remember. Okay. But yeah, I remember everything about our bogus marriage ceremony, David, and he was such a jerk. He's like, she won't remember, right? She won't remember. Oh, I was disgusted. He was told that my father, Dennis Wayne Elliott, would give him money if he married me. That was his opportunity to get some money if he married me. And David, that was why David did it. But he wanted to make sure I didn't know we were married. He was such an asshole. Excuse my language. And I remember in that moment in my drug state, when they've given you memory drugs like that, you're just like, you can hardly stand. It affects, your balance, and, you're shaking. And I don't know what drug it was, but it was supposed to be a memory drug. And I was like all jittery, and, and and he's like, she won't remember anything, right? He was so adamant that I not remember. And I was like, what in that moment in my mind, as I was looking at him and observing everything, I was like, wow, I'm seeing the real David at long last. Like, wow. It was like, wow, what an asshole, Anyway. Stanley Kubrick, who is Daddy, an alternate persona of Daddy, Clint Eastwood. And I know that's hard to believe, but it is true. Daddy is a psychiatrist and psychologist, and he is the founder of Scientology. Okay. It's based on Nichiren Buddhism, Scientology. And he's a psychiatrist. And I know that it's just so ironic, since Scientologists are so opposed to psychiatry. That was L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard was the poster boy. Okay. He was just a bad science fiction writer that Daddy recruited because he's one of my genetic fathers. Another one, L. Ron Hubbard. And I spent time with him too. I know this is going to sound really weird. This is what's coming to mind, and I'm going to say it. And I know it sounds really weird, but Daddy is the person who talked Hitler into committing suicide at the end of World War II, ending World War II. I just want you to know this. Daddy he's a master psychologist, psychiatrist, and he talked Hitler into committing suicide. That was the best thing for his life because of what he did with that life. And that was the end of World War II. And, I just want everyone to know this. And I know it's hard to imagine Clint Eastwood being the guy that did that, but I know Clint Eastwood is a persona. Daddy is much more than just Clint Eastwood. That's Daddy. That's the persona of Daddy's who still lives, because, I'm one of Daddy's many children, clearly. He's my father many times over too. It's not every father that's my father many times over. And he was twin. He was Queen Elizabeth's older twin, firstborn twin, just so you understand where he is in the birth order of things. So he's more my daddy than anybody else. I think Jesus Christ is also my daddy more a number of times over. I didn't want to mention that, but I will. But Daddy, I believe, is more my parent than anyone, except for my grandma. My grandma she's the only mother I had. And to capture all her IQ, they had to have all these many, many fathers. And Daddy he outnumbers all the other fathers. He's my father many, many times over. So he's more my father than any other man in existence. Okay. Clint Eastwood. My birthday's coming up. I'm turning 59 on Monday, October 21st. Yeah, and hopefully I turn 18 on my 59th birthday. Let's hope. I really want to have a life. When I say I haven't turned 18 yet, I mean I am not treated as an adult. I'm treated as I was when I was a minor, because they classified me top secret when I was a minor. I was 9 years old. It was 1975. It's been 49 years since I expired on July 23rd of this year. Okay. And I'm still waiting to be declassified. Technically, if something expires, it's not classified anymore, but I guess they've been waiting for all the legal, the CIA has been fighting like hell behind the scenes to renew my classifications. Under what grounds? Can anyone tell me how I might be a threat to national security? Tell me. I want to look something up. Criteria for being classified as top secret. Top secret, TS, shall be applied to information the unauthorized disclosure of which could reasonably be expected to cause exceptionally grave damage to the national security that the original classification authority is able to identify or describe. Let's see what national security means. National security is the ability of a state to protect its citizens, economy, and institutions. It includes both military and non-military aspects, such as military, gaining a military advantage over foreign nations, and having a defense posture to resist hostile action. Non-military, countering terrorism, combating espionage, enforcing sanctions, and disrupting cyber threats. Other, economic security, energy security, environmental security, food security, and minimizing crime. National security is a collective term that encompasses national defense and foreign relations. The goal of national security is to maintain a favorable foreign relations position to defend the United States of America. That's what national security is. National security is, it's not about protecting criminals. You know, it's an abuse of the classification system to use a top secret classification to protect criminals from seeing justice, from justice being done. That's an abuse of our classification system in the United States. The CIA hates women. They hate women. They follow these old world laws that state that women are slaves, that women are, yeah, they're slaves. They equate them with animals or children. This is the old world mindset. Nobody has been born with the authority to change the law until now. And see, they know I'm going to change the law. If they declassify me, I will change the law. Because why? Because I was born queen and I have the authority. I'm the first person to have authority since, like, I don't know what date, 1700s, something like that. I don't know. I guess since maybe it was my genetic father, King George III, who last had the authority. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it was that. That's the last time the laws were, you know, the laws have been changed. I mean, we're still going according to the law in the 1700s. I believe. I mean, I'm thinking, because I am his genetic daughter. And that was the whole point. That's how I'm going to finally free this country and make it the land of the free like it's supposed to. Because the war of 1812, you know, it put everything back in British hands and they just kept it a secret and they let everyone think, oh yeah, you're the United States of America, you're free, you know, you have democracy, but not really. And so this is why I was born. And now I own England. You see how that worked? You know, England, it was the reverse. And now I'm the queen here and I own the United Kingdom, right? And, you know, United States of America. And it's also the United Kingdom of America secretly. Okay. That's what we had to do. I'm not some egomaniac. I'm not like some narcissist, some, you know, on some ego trip or anything like that. I mean, this is the situation. It seems like society accepts men of all races before they, you know, we still haven't had a woman president, for example. You know, we had a black president, but we haven't yet had a woman president, you know, and, you know, so it's really tough being a woman in this society. And I can't believe after all these years, and I'm 59 years old, it's still an issue. It's still a problem after all these years of preparing the world for me, for a woman president. It's still a problem.